Hello, second grade. We're on math session 3. Today we're going to be focused on the attributes of a cube. And so that's what the focus is going to be throughout this lesson. So pay attention. We'll go through it together. Remember, you can pause the video at any time. Give yourself some time to work. And then you can move on at your own pace. So the lesson starts out, it says, read and try to solve the problem below. It says, which shape is a cube? Tell how you know. So take a look that they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different shapes across the top. Which one of those is a cube and how do you know? Okay, I'm going to let you go ahead and work on that. So you might want to pause the video. When you write that, you might want to mention what you notice about the shape. Okay, it could be something about their faces. Remember, the faces are the flat sides. Okay, it might have something to do with the vertices. Remember that those are the points or the edges. What do you notice about that when you're looking at that shape? Okay, so go ahead and pause the video, fill it in, and then come back to us. Okay, once you have that filled in, down at discuss it says, do you agree with me? Why or why not? So find somebody in your house and show them what you wrote and see if they agree with you on whether that is a cube or not. So go ahead and pause again. Go find somebody that you can check with, see if they agree with you, and then come on back to us. All right, as you go to the next page, we're going to find out some different attributes of our cube. So it says, which shape is a cube? Tell how you know. And so here are your shapes again. Now they want you to picture it. It says a cube has 6 faces. Did you write about that when you wrote about a cube? If not, you might want to readjust your writing a little bit. Each face is a square, so it must make a square shape if it is going to be a cube. Did you write about that when you wrote about it in the beginning? You can count the number of square faces. So we've done this one in class before. We talked about rolling a number cube, and that rolls a number between 1 and 6. And so, of course, your cube would then have 6 faces. Picture it. It says cubes have edges, vertices, and faces. So again, this edge is, you can see my cursor going across there, is that line that goes across right here. Your vertices, those are going to be the points, and the faces are going to be those flat sides. So it says each face is a square, and all the squares are the same size. So this is the same as that one, and it's the same as that one. All 6 will be the same. An edge is formed where 2 faces come together. So here's our example. Here's a face, here's a face, here's an edge that meets right down the middle right there. Okay. It says a vertex is formed where the 3 edges come together. So when all 3 come together, you'll get that little point that is the vertex. All right, now it says connected. Now you'll use the problem from the previous page to help you understand naming and describing cubes. So number 1 says, look at the first picture. How many faces does the cube have? So if you think back on that number cube, you should be able to solve that problem. If not, you can go back to that picture and get that help from the picture. Now it says, draw any face of a cube. Now remember, we said the cube's face has to be the shape of a square. So make sure it is a square shape. Don't draw a rectangle or some other shape in there. Make sure it is a square. Which shape on the previous page is a cube? So now look back. Which one of those is a cube? Number 4 says, why is shape C on the previous page not a cube? Okay, so I would say again, take a look at those faces. Are they all squares in there? Take a close look. Now it says pick up a cube. How many edges does a cube have? How many vertices? So you may have to go to find one of your board games. Get a number cube out, count the number of edges, okay? Count the number of vertices. Number 6 says, look back at your triad and picture it. Which models or strategies do you like best for identifying cubes? Explain. So just tell us in there, how do you know if something's a cube? You might want to mention something about its faces again, because we have stressed that part over and over. And on the next page, it says to apply it. It says, use what you've learned to solve the problems. It says, Bonnie says that this figure is a square. Marty says it's a cube. Who is correct, and explain why. So here's the shape. Is that a cube or is that a square? So is it going to be Bonnie that's correct, or is it going to be Marty? When you write the solution, make sure you tell us why. What made you agree with one person instead of the other? Number 8 says, which description is true of all cubes? So is it A, 6 square faces that are all the same? B, 6 sides and 6 vertices? C, 4 square faces that are all the same? Or D, 4 sides and 4 vertices? So you may want to take that cube example that you have or look back at the previous page and figure out which is true of all cubes. Number 9 says, Tam put together 2 cubes that are the same size and says his new solid shape is also a cube. Is Tam correct? How do you know? Use 2 cubes to model the problem. So if you get 2 cubes, stick them together, you'll notice that you do end up with a really long side on 2 of the sides. On this side and this side that you can see in the picture, and along with the other sides that you don't see. You'll see that they're not all squares. So that's a little help for you as you approach that problem. Okay. The next one says some practice for you. It says, study the example showing flat shapes and solid shapes, and then solve problems 1 through 3. So they're going to show you some examples. It says, how can you use flat shapes to make a cube? And look at the solid shape below. Each of the 6 faces is a square. So again, we've talked about each face has to be a square. It says, edges are where 2 faces come together. So again, right where they come together, that long line would be the edge. Vertices are where 3 edges come together. That makes that little point. So they tell you down here that this cube has 6 faces, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. Now you can go back to that problem you did earlier where you were figuring out how many faces, edges, and vertices there were and see if you were correct. If you weren't, you can go back and make those changes today. Finally, down below it says, what does it mean for faces to be the same? Okay, so what does it mean when they are the same? So you might want to mention something about size and shape there. Number 2, which of these shapes are cubes? Write the letter of each shape that is a cube. Explain how you know. So make sure you put the little words down here at the bottom that explains how you know. Number 3, it says, look at shapes G and H. Name one way they are different. Name 2 ways they are the same. So as you look at that problem, what's one way that they're different? Well, you can see that the one shape H is much smaller than shape G. G is bigger. So you can say that their size is different. For the bottom part, how are they the same? I want you to give me 2 ways that they're the same. So I helped you out a little bit on how they're different. You can help me out by filling in the last 2 on how they are the same. So remember, we have been talking about the attributes of a cube. So this is where you can pull it together for us. All right, that does it for today's lesson on maths. Hopefully you do a great job. Make sure you check your work, make sure you check with an adult, and have a great day.